Your Gimbu, Professor. Is it Professor Gimbu?
Just plain old Gimbu.
But you are a professor, right?
Not official.
I mean,
I teach classes.
I like to say professor. And your dissertation on the gun issue was excellent. Okay. And statistic. I want to talk about Barack Obama, so hold on for that. Okay. And the future of America and African Americans, but the statistic you got me on was you said 85% of the guns in America are owned by who?
88% of the guns in America
88%
are owned by white people, and 6% are owned by black people.
So 6% African Americans only, black folks, aka black people, African Americans, we only own 6% of the guns.
6% of the guns.
But we catch about 99% of the bullets.
Yep. I don't know if it's 99%.
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah,
I mean,
large. I mean, overly proportioned.
In the streets of Chicago, and maybe in your town too, the streets are dripping with blood.
Yep.
And like you said, we just take it because I think that we just wait that Jesus is gonna come and help us or something like that, right? You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been taught that the solution to our problem is always outside of ourselves, yes. Outside somewhere else, which is one of the reasons why. They're able to run the kind of game on us that they are, because we're not expected to be able to intervene and solve these problems ourselves, but to look to an outside source for the solution to our problem. We have been hit with something called an external order of motion as opposed to an internal order of motion, where what motivates us comes from outside of our community as opposed to coming internally from ourselves. And so unfortunately, when it comes to those issues like self-defense, we've been taught to look outside of ourselves. So instead of Sandy Jackson pushing for a repeal of the Chicago handgun ban, so that people in her district can defend themselves, she wants to bring in the National Guard.
The Sandy Jackson is the alderman, is the 8th Ward?
Yeah, 7th
Ward, Beavers are Ward. 7th Ward over east by the train tracks over there. And that's Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr.'s wife.
Right.
She's an alderman. We got 50 aldermen in Chicago. Unbelievable.
Right.
And she wants the National Guard.
Right. So I heard this morning.
That was this morning. Yeah, this morning.
She wants to bring the National Guard.
She bring the National Guard in. Yeah.
As opposed to giving the people an opportunity to defend themselves. Well, how do the National Guard know the difference between a gangbanger and some other guy who don't want to get messed with the gangs, so he dresses the same way that they do?
But the way we do, we're gonna get to Barack in a second. Okay. The main thing we need to do, like I said, is change the mentality.
Right.
And I say I go to the public schools all the time, and many of you have children in public schools, and you are a professor. You teach students all the time. The mindset of the average young person in a city like Chicago is what? Jelly. It's like they're dumb as a stone. And the mentality is unbelievable. So how do we begin to change that mentality so over the next 5 or 10 years we can see the crime? Because that's the best way to reduce crime is to change the mentality.
Right, exactly. I mean, I wish I had a
because it's not an overnight thing.
Right, I wish I had a definitive answer to that.
Right.
There's several things I think that can be done. The first thing that needs to be done is that parents need to step up to the plate to stop being parents, stop trying to be their kids' friends.
But some people they shouldn't be parents in the first place. That's the big problem.
Well, yeah,
I talk to 16-year-old girls, even 20-year-old girls. They tell, I want a baby. What you want the baby for? In 10 years, this baby be a 10-year-old. Then I hear parents, they say, my son is 13. I can't do nothing with him. What you mean you can't do nothing with him? He's 13. You know what I'm saying?
That's because they haven't tried. I had a girlfriend who used to live right across the street.
Right.
In the projects, just going back to 1977, 78, something like that. And one time she had her son, I think was 4. She said, Andre, go in there and ask Mama to give you the brush and bring it here so I can finish combing your sister's hair. And he said, I'm going to watch TV. And he stormed out the room, and I like, oh God, she's gonna kill him. Oh Lord have mercy. And after about 2 seconds, I didn't hear no screaming. I kind of peeked between my fingers to figure out why I ain't hear no screaming. She talking about, oh, I can't do nothing with that boy. That was the first argument we had.
I can't do nothing with a 4-year-old. With a 4-year-old.
And my comment was, what you gonna do when he turns 14 if you can't do it now? Woo. All right, and so parents gotta step up to the plate and start being parents and stop being their kids' friends.
Let me say this, and it's not popular to say.
Okay.
This myth of the super black woman who raised the kids all by themselves, it's a lot of them out there. But the average sister is not that super black woman who's a single parent mama, and I raised 4 boys and they all went to college. That's a rarity. The average sister cannot properly raise a man. And now you don't have to speak on that. That's Mark Sims saying that. And we got to say that the myth of the super black woman is just that, a myth. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, to me, because you got stuck with kids,
right?
Because you was messing around with some dude that didn't want to assume responsibility,
right?
Does not make you superwoman. Sorry.
And most of the most women who had these babies, they were either between 15 and 25. And the average sister and brother are not ready to have children at that age.
At that age, no, they're not.
Not in this modern. We was down in the South, fine, but not in this modern era. No.
I mean, I don't think most have the maturity,
yes,
to deal with that. And the way the economy is, they certainly do not have the ability to be able to financially support a kid.
No.
I mean, you know, I come out of high school in '74, and at that point in time, you could still get a good job with a high school diploma.
Them days are
but now you really need a master's degree to even make yourself marketable. You having a bachelor's degree means about as much now as a high school diploma did 30, 40 years ago.
And that's what goes back to the mentality. I try to tell these young people that I said the average person in America makes under 100 grand. In fact, the average person makes under 50 grand.
Right.
The average wage is only $17.50. That's the average. I wish I could make $17.50 right about now. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they don't see, when you're young, you don't understand. Most of us who go into school right now, you're not gonna make enough money to survive. That's why I'm married. Because my wife helps me pay my rent. And I tell them that. It's all, everything, when I'm saying that candid talk, we have to tell these young men, these young ladies when they in grammar school. This is the reality, because their parents ain't. See, the parents don't want to say, you know, like me, I dropped out of high school back in the day. They don't want to say I dropped out of school. Not that I love you, but I should not have had you when I did. Parents not gonna say that.
Right.
They don't want to say you know. I'm not saying you're a mistake, but I wish I had waited a little longer, been more mature before I had you, before I birthed you. Right. But no one's gonna say that. No one will say I messed up. Right. Like I didn't go to college. I made the $1 million mistake and whatnot. So no parent doesn't say I effed up, I messed up. But parents need to say, I made a bunch of mistakes. You are not going to do this.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I parent. That's how I parent.
And let your children learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
So if they make mistakes, they make some new ones. Not the same
old school, but I mean, it's generation after you've seen it. You see right now, you're down the street where the school is at, and here on the south side, the old project's been torn down. They got these new developments, yada yada yada. But you can put new buildings up, but the mentality has not changed.
Right.
And that's what we need to deal with. Right. The mayor can bring in the National Guard, he can improve the schools, he can bring in charter schools, he can get rid of the teachers union, he can do all this stuff, but the mentality of the masses needs to be changed.
Right.
And politicians ain't gonna do that, right?
Absolutely not gonna do that.
And now let's go for little Barack Obama.
Okay.